Miami, a vibrant coastal city in Florida, is renowned not just for its famous basketball team, the Miami Heat, but also for its myriad other charms. As one of the wealthiest cities in the United States based on purchasing power, Miami boasts a magnificent skyline featuring over 300 high-rise buildings. The downtown area is home to the largest concentration of international banks in the country, housing several major national and international corporations. Moreover, Miami's health district includes major healthcare facilities affiliated with the University of Miami, such as Jackson Memorial Hospital and the Miller School of Medicine. Adding to the city's allure is Port Miami, the busiest cruise port in the world, contributing significantly to the city's glittering reputation. However, behind the luxury and its status as the gateway to Latin America, Miami harbors a darker side that is seldom exposed. Organized crime and drug trafficking have left a significant mark on this city. In the 1970s and 1980s, Miami was at the heart of a brutal drug war between the U.S. government and various drug cartels, notably the Medellin cartel, led by Pablo Escobar. Starting in 1975, Escobar and his cartel began smuggling 40 to 60 kilograms of cocaine into Miami every week, generating approximately $7.3 million monthly. By 1981, Miami was responsible for 70% of the cocaine trade in the United States. Rampant police corruption exacerbated the situation, with many officers involved in drug trafficking. One of Miami's most ruthless and money-hungry drug dealers was Griselda Blanco, known as the Cocaine Godmother, whose story even inspired a Netflix series. Additionally, the documentary series Cocaine Cowboys: The Kings of Miami delves into the rise and fall of Miami drug lords Sal Magluta and Willie Falcon. Both were eventually indicted in one of the largest drug cases in U.S. history, accused of smuggling 75 tons of cocaine into the country. Although the dominance of Mexican cartels has shifted cocaine smuggling routes into the U.S. through the southern border, Florida, particularly Miami, remains a crucial hub in the drug trade. In 2019, the DEA reported that Florida, including Miami, was the state with the largest amount of seized cocaine in the country. Miami's famous nightlife also has its own dark side. The sex trade in the city was a booming industry, generating around $215 million per year in 2003, although this figure dropped to approximately $166 million by 2007. Despite fierce competition, pimps in Miami often collaborate to avoid legal consequences. This cooperation highlights the deeply entrenched and complex nature of the sex trade in the city. Human trafficking operations persist, with new cases emerging that reveal the exploitation of women, especially those from countries like Cuba. In addition to crime and drug issues, Miami faces a severe housing crisis. As of 2023, the city had a homeless population of 3,657 individuals. This situation is exacerbated by a significant income disparity, where many residents must work multiple jobs to meet basic needs. Despite an abundance of job opportunities and a low unemployment rate of 2.7%, skyrocketing housing costs have made it difficult for many to maintain their residences. The average home value has doubled since 2018, and numerous residents are forced to spend more than 30% of their income on housing costs. Miami-Dade County is facing a significant shortfall of more than 90,000 affordable housing units. With an average annual income of approximately $67,572, many residents find it challenging to keep up with the high cost of living. The influx of new jobs in Miami often pays less than $18.43 per hour, further widening the economic gap and pushing more individuals to the brink of homelessness. While the city's economic growth is frequently celebrated, the harsh reality of high living costs and income inequality leads many residents to experience profound hardship. Miami has long been a hotspot for various illegal activities, exploiting its unique geographic and economic conditions. Florida ranks third in the United States for human trafficking cases, according to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Miami-Dade County tops the state with the highest number of reported cases. Nationally, Miami ranks fifth for human trafficking, with Miami International Airport serving as a major hub due to its high volume of domestic and international travel. One major factor contributing to Miami's role as a center for human trafficking is tourism. According to the Department of Justice, South Florida is the third busiest area for sex trafficking in the United States. This situation is exacerbated by the region's large agricultural economy and significant immigrant population, creating an environment vulnerable to forced labor, particularly in the agriculture and tourism industries. Miami is also known as a hotspot for sex tourism. The city's booming sex industry attracts many tourists, which in turn fuels the demand for human trafficking. The thriving tourism sector, combined with the city's bustling nightlife, makes it an attractive destination for traffickers looking to exploit vulnerable individuals. Corruption in Miami is not a new phenomenon. A city manager and a city commissioner have been imprisoned for obstruction of justice and bribery, while 2 county commissioners were forced to resign over similar cases. Voter fraud scandals have even led to a mayoral election being overturned, with votes cast by deceased individuals. Over the past 5 years, the Miami-Dade County State Attorney's Office has charged at least 270 public officials, including police officers, with various crimes. The pervasive corruption in Miami is often linked to rapid growth, ethnic and political loyalties, and a lack of oversight. These factors create opportunities for corrupt officials to exploit their positions. Public officials frequently blame slow government progress and the failure to provide adequate oversight for the ever-growing metropolitan area. Miami also grapples with serious public health issues. The city has a high rate of HIV/AIDS, with many cases undetected and untreated. Additionally, the opioid and methamphetamine crises have further exacerbated public health challenges. Federal agents in South Florida have seized over 540 kilograms of methamphetamine, with a street value of more than $11.2 million. A tragic example of the opioid crisis impact is the death of a 10-year-old child from fentanyl exposure. Despite its reputation as a glamorous and thriving city, Miami faces significant challenges. Corruption, public health crisis, and deep-seated socioeconomic issues paint a more complex picture of this iconic coastal city. The contrast between Miami's glittering facade and the underlying struggles of its residents underscores the city's multifaceted nature, where stories of luxury and hardship coexist. Miami's long history of racism and social tension is deeply intertwined with the city's development. In 1939, as many African American residents were pushed out of the main business districts into Liberty Square, the Miami City Commission erected a 6-foot-high wall to separate the first public housing project for Black residents in the South from the nearby white neighborhoods. Though the wall now stands at just a few feet tall, it remains a stark reminder of the strict racial segregation of the past. The impact of this segregation lingers today, with economic and social disparities continuing to affect Miami's Black communities. Ethnic tensions in Miami reached a peak in the 1980s. Racial riots erupted due to confrontations between police and African American residents, coupled with ethnic strife triggered by the influx of new immigrants, particularly from Cuba. Cuban refugees, often with limited English proficiency, settled in low-income neighborhoods and took jobs that were also needed by African American residents. This led to a series of violent incidents known as the Miami riots. One notable riot occurred in Liberty City during the 1968 Republican National Convention, reflecting deep-seated frustration within the African American community. These historical tensions underscore the ongoing struggles within Miami. Despite its reputation as a vibrant and diverse city, the legacy of racial segregation and social inequality continues to shape the lives of many of its residents. The contrast between Miami's rich cultural tapestry and the persistent inequities highlights the city's complex and multifaceted nature. In addition to social issues, Miami faces significant threats from natural disasters. The city is highly susceptible to tropical storms and rising sea levels. Miami's average elevation is about 6 feet above sea level, matching the projected rise in sea levels for southeast Florida by the end of this century. Tropical storms and storm surges frequently cause severe flooding, as seen in June 2022, when a tropical storm resulted in nearly 10 inches of rainfall in the area. This vulnerability to natural disasters has serious long-term economic impacts. In 2023, construction volume in the Miami metropolitan area reached $25.3 billion, up 73% from $14.6 billion in 2014. However, rising sea levels and flood risks can decrease property values, increase insurance premiums, and lead to lost income and business profits. A study estimates that about 60% of Miami-Dade County could be underwater by 2060. Despite these risks, many Miami residents choose to stay due to the allure of warm weather and a perceived better quality of life compared to other regions. The challenges Miami faces are multifaceted, blending historical social inequalities, contemporary economic divides, and pressing environmental threats. This complex narrative makes Miami a city of contrasts, where stories of luxury and resilience coexist with those of hardship and vulnerability.